Okay, next we'll move to law and licensing. Chair Carol Lee, are you ready to take this one on?
I am, and thank you very much. And I know my name is hard to say. I still struggle with it. We have a number of action items, a few, I should say. The first one is item 14.2. The title is Licensing Assessment Selection and Passing Standards Process. And this was a good discussion about how the board, essentially staff, would work and set passing standards for assessments for educator licensing. And the motion for the board is that the committee moves that the board approve the licensing, assessment, selection, and passing standards process.
Okay, the motion before the board is that the board approve the licensing, assessment, selection, and passing standards process. Any discussion to the motion? Board members, as I'm scanning this, there's still some votes from the previous still hanging on here. Which is okay, I'm just looking for hands. I'm not seeing any discussion, so the motion before the board is that the board approve the licensing, assessment, selection, and passing standards process. Board members, at this time, please vote. Voting is complete, and this motion passes unanimously. Please continue, Chair.
And we had discussion but no action on 14.3. We had discussion but no action on 14.4. The next action item is 14.5, a repeal of R277, or proposed repeal of R277-508, employment of substitute teachers. A rule that is being rewritten as we speak, but this one is no longer necessary or current. So the motion for the board is that the committee moves that the board repeal R277-508, employment of substitute teachers, on second and final reading.
Okay, the motion before the board is that the board repeal R277-508, employment of substitute teachers, on second and final reading. Any discussion to the motion? I'm seeing none, so please vote. The voting is complete and the motion passes unanimously. Please continue, Chair.
Thank you. The next action item is item 14.6, R277-462, School Counseling Program, which is an amendment. This was an amendment for an appendix for a document to be aligned actually with another rule, R277-464. And the motion for the board is that the committee moves that the board approve R277-462 School Counseling Program Draft 1 on second and final reading.
Okay, the motion before the board is that the board approve R277-462 School Counseling Program Draft 1 on second and final reading. Discussion to the motion? Seeing none, board members, please vote. The voting is complete and the motion passes unanimously. Please continue, Chair.
Thank you. I'm trying to take away my vote. There we go. The next action item is 14.7, and this was a discussion of R277-616, Education for Homeless and Emancipated Students. This allowed our committee to have a double dose of the discussion of the homeless services that the State Board of Education governs through rule, and it was excellent to hear about it twice. The motion for the board is that the committee moves that the board continue and approve R277-616, Education for Homeless and Emancipated Students, Draft 1, on second and final reading.
Okay, the motion before the board is that the board approve and continue, that the board continue and approve R277-616, Education for Homeless and Emancipated Students, Draft 1, on second and final reading. Discussion to the motion, Board Member Belknap.
I'm sorry, I didn't have an opportunity to ask this before, so I just wanted clarity. When a student is living with grandparents, for example, a family has moved in with grandparents or aunts or uncles or something like that, are they considered homeless at the time they're living there since they don't own the home?
And I could give you an answer, but I'll let Jeff Ojeda or Jeff Van Holten, who I hope one of those two Jeffs is online and could speak to that more academically than I can.
Because, Chair, I just want to go back to
Yes.
Chair Lear.
Yes.
Because I'm just wondering if this conflates the numbers of homeschool students we have. That's why I'm asking the question.
The number
Yeah,
of
not-
homeless.
Homeless, sorry,
On the
homeless. Yeah.
homeless side.
Yes,
So
sorry.
I'm looking for any hands raised. Jeff Van Holten, can you take this one on, or do we?
Darren just wrote something. You know, I can track this later, Chair. I'm okay. It's a very interesting question for me, so I can take this
Okay.
later.
All right, thank you. Any other discussion?
Thank you.
Any other discussion to the motion? Okay, the motion before the board is that the board continue and approve R277-616, Education for Homeless and Emancipated Students, Draft 1, on second and final reading. Board members at this time, please vote. The voting is complete and the motion passes unanimously. Please continue, Chair.
The last item is item 4.8, R277-494, a discussion of charter, online, home, and private school student participation in extracurricular or co-curricular. There was a desire last month to have a number of amendments, perhaps, or proposed, and discussion, but there was also a necessity to have this rule continued. So with that, balancing those two issues, the committee agreed, yes, we'd like to discuss this more. Chair Belknap also had a proposed amendment, but all of those things decided to move this forward as continued and then have a broader discussion in the next month or two. So the motion for the board currently is that the committee moves that the board continue and approve R277-494, charter, online, home, and private school student participation in extracurricular or co-curricular school activities, Draft 1, on second and final reading.
The motion before the board is to continue and approve R277-494, charter, online, home, and private school student participation in extracurricular or co-curricular school activities, Draft 1, on second and final reading. Discussion to the motion? Seeing none, board members, please vote.
Oh, no. I'm trying.
Okay, the voting is complete and the motion passes unanimously.
And that completes our report. Thank you. That
Thank you,
completes our report.
Okay, thank you, Chair.